Pal World's the future. Competitive Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has been dead since Season 1, and because of Pokemon Legends ZA, there is no hope for the future. Let's see how Smogon is faring, and they're still trying to ban everything with Archaludon being banned, and it's for the same reasons we talk about time and time again. You give it 5 different movesets, you give it perfect Terra, perfect prediction, free setup, and of course, the Pokemon is too strong. We saw this with Baxcalibur. So Archaludon gets a lot of benefit in the rain. Baxcalibur, you set up behind screens. And now they're talking about Sun taking over. So I've been proving how Smogon players are just bad at the game. They're not playing real Pokemon. And their competitive development is over a decade behind from all the suppression that they've put into the game. It's actually regressing. That we're going back to Generation 5 where it's rain and sun and weather control and screens in singles is now the oppressive thing that no one wants to deal with. And now it's oh, Gouging Fire and Sun is the new Archaludon in rain, or Baxcalibur in screens. And that is the entire discussion. So I thought we were going to find some fun stuff. We got Monoclaw. We got whatever, 20 item spam we've been seeing in the just terrible, weird stall strategies that people are cooking up. But no, the only thing that the OU discussion now is ban this, ban that. It's the same couple of people just spamming, wasting their entire lives in a Smogon forum, just saying this needs to be banned. Here's the damage calcs that prove it. No strategy, no nothing is allowed to be discussed until everything is banned. That's Smogon right now. Which begs the question, is it working? No. So we actually had a recent OU survey get published. Enjoyment, 6 out of 10 for the elites, the qualified. And now that everyone knows that Smogon was made by actual Nazis and the entire thing is a Holocaust joke, it has so much different meaning when you just see the separation of the classes. I can't look at the word Uber the same anymore, and that's another thing. It's oh, they banned Archaludon. Well, surely you're going to be able to find a concise understanding of how the format works and the Pokemon that are banned. No, they can't even update the website. So if you just kind of go Smogon OU or ban Smogon Pokemon, and you go to the Smogon website, you got nothing. You don't know everything that's banned. And then again, now they're just putting so many bans, so many arbitrary restrictions and clauses that it's impossible to keep up. And then there's no actual resources. And that's only for the most niche of echo chamber in-crowd people that follow it. And then you're going to get bullied for your ignorance, even though there's no other way of finding out except for getting it wrong or having Pokemon Showdown tell you your team is illegal without having any resources to tell you why it's illegal until you've already built it and spent the time. So yeah, qualified find it as enjoyable as the plebs, the people that are not worth any consideration because they're bad at the game. Enjoyment of the meta game is satisfactory. That is derangement right there. And also, Finch has just been, wild on Twitter, just, getting upset at everything not getting banned, or, when a suspect doesn't go through, or all the other discussions. The Smogon's been melting down for, years straight, and it just keeps on getting more and more crazy. But a 6 out of 10, and not even, a 6.5. We're not even, a middling D. This is D-. You have an F right here. This is an F. And that's satisfactory to Smogon because it's impossible to salvage. We cannot go back to the good old days of where satisfaction was a C, a 7 out of 10. So yeah, wow. Enjoyment's just that bad. Took a slight hit, so it's actually going down. More and more bans. There's been this discussion of, okay, when the DLC drops, we can save OU because then we can just kind of reset. No new changes are coming to the game. Then we can make the decisions that are needed to make at a rapid pace. We are seeing more testing. We are seeing more, they're calling it tiering action. So we're seeing more tiering action than ever before, and it goes down. Because threats are popping up, because it turns out when you ban the most powerful thing, 3 more things are going to take its place because now the counter is gone, and you have no more power in the game to suppress it. Which is what I've been saying for a decade. We are working on addressing this and have already planned the first big step. There's room to improve. So yeah, what's the first big step? Of course, it's going to be suspecting Gouging Fire. And the reasoning is yeah, it's too powerful in Sun. So, I mean, look at how unacceptable this is. It 2-shots Dondozo with Raging Fury after getting everything handed to it. You have to give it Sun. You have to give up your Terra Fire. And then Raging Fury. which is going to be like Outrage and lock you in. I guess Flash Fire just stopped existing magically, and that's only enough to barely two-shot Dondozo. So this is like just a disgusting display of power creep in both directions. I do find Gouging Fire to be just an outrageous decision and a complete failing of balance from Game Freak, but we've seen that many times before, and that's like the whole thing about Pokemon for adaptation, and unless a Pokemon always goes 2-for-1 every time it hits the field, then there's no reason to ban it, because like you can actually outplay it, and then you need the meta to develop around it. I actually found some Raging Fury counters when like it came out. I was like, oh wait, wow, these people just do not want to deal with the Comfey. That's kind of hilarious. So yeah, like all kinds of weird stuff going on. So they have all these big steps, nothing's happening. Competitiveness is going down. When you like, Smogon's been going on for so long, and the culmination of this, more tiering action, the most recent Pokemon game, letting things settle out, all of their ban happiness, they're like more bans than ever before, and they've made a less enjoyable, less competitive game in the end. Verlisify always right. Our player base finds the metagame somewhat competitive. 5 out of 10 is somewhat competitive, somewhat good. But much like enjoyment, it went down, and there's clearly room to improve. This is what they've said every time since the surveys like started, pretty much. You failed. You can't just be like, this is like watching a business that's about to file for bankruptcy, where it's like, yeah, you know, we could do better, we can improve our sales, and we can cut back on our spending, and that we can use that to reform and rebuild the business. And then 2 years later, they're saying the same thing after profits have gone even harder, and now they're in the red. That's what we're watching. Terastalization. This will split up into 2 questions, so let's examine both. Do you feel that any tiering action is needed? Qualified, 46% support tiering action on terastalization. So actually we can see something where the quote-unquote better players in the baby format are actually like more comfortable with terastalization than the casuals that get stomped by it. Fine. Do you feel that an outright ban is needed? And now like it's actually going down. So it's kind of reversing. It was close. Like terastalization, when it got suspected, almost got removed, and then we would have just seen the complete hilarity of removing the gimmick like we saw with Generation 8, because these kids are so bad at Pokemon they can't handle Dynamax. But now everyone's just like, nah, just accept it. Embrace. And I think it's also one of those things, like, there's a huge learning curve to terastalization. Same thing for Dynamax. So, like, by banning things before... Like, we're actually, like, watching what happens when you don't ban everything, and Smogon kids still don't understand it, where it's like, wait, this was seen as a threat for a while, people got to adapt to it, they were forced to develop as the players, and as time goes on, the threat is seen as less of a threat, which goes back to Smogon's own tiering policy framework and what defines skill. You need to be able to deal with threats. You need to have an actual strategy. Creativity is powerful, except when creativity is ignorance and then catering to the metagame. If you cannot cater to the metagame, you are unskilled by Smogon's own definition, but then they can't cope with skill issues, they have to ban everything. Which is why I never got on board. I was like, wait, you kids can't handle Garchomp and Diamond and Pearl? Oh, you guys are trash. Alright, yeah, I have no reason to go there. Then talking about threats and stuff and bans and stuff. And we got King Gambit received noteworthy support, will be continued to be included in both internal and public tiering discussions. And then Golden Go, like, look at that, things are going down. King Gambit less of a threat, Golden Go less of a threat. Apparently Blissey moved back into OU, so people like realizing, wait, Blissey is busted. And if you're not playing in the schizo anti-setup Japanese meta, Blissey is really strong and a Pokemon that you need to play around, especially when you can spam the same items and you're also in a 6v6. And actually, that's kind of it. It's tiring to keep up with all of the suspect testing and tiering action that's going on. The game for Smogon is only getting worse and worse. The discussion is completely bland and stale. And it's one of those things where, like, well, yeah, Pokemon just kind of dead. Pokemon's been dead pretty much the entire generation because it's only Japanese players actually playing the game. Everyone else is a cheater. Same thing on VGC, where we're seeing like record amounts of cheaters getting disqualified. They're crying about it because Pokemon upped their hack check and now no one can cope. And then there was also that one dude that made a bomb threat against the Pokemon Company, and everyone's defending them. So yeah, just like rotten community. But also, like, it's just gaming in general. There's more cheating in Counter-Strike and Call of Duty than ever before because everyone's just a worthless brat. And I'm also seeing the same thing for Pal World, where a lot of cheating support, a lot of glitching, which is cheating, especially for an early access game, which the devs are actively working to fix. So pretty much everyone sucks, both at games and real life, because they're brats, they don't want to work for any other things. That's just kind of ruining everything. All of society and the economy and all that fun stuff included. And now you can't even fall, like it used to be alright. Everything's bad in the world, you can fall back to games and have a good time. Nope, not anymore. Not getting much better, huh? Hope you guys enjoy the video. That's kind of a down note to say that on, but I hope you guys have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.